So a DNA test was done to determine if Jesse really was the father of Kaylee, and the lie detector test determined Jesse was not the father. Devastating news to Jesse, who still wanted to work it out, but in May of 2006, Jesse broke off their engagement, saying that Casey's behavior was becoming more erratic and she was becoming a different person. So they broke up, and a little bit of time goes on, and Casey is just ready to start dating again. So she starts going out there. She's like, I'm gonna go out and just I just want to dance. So she's going out and partying a lot with her friends. Now, while she's out, that's when she meets this guy named Tony, who was an aspiring DJ. That's gonna work out real well. So the two are dating, and Casey would bring Kaylee over to his apartment that he shared with his roommates, and they would spend a lot of their time there. Casey was still living at home during this time with her parents, and Casey's parents, they helped take care of Kaylee. They gave her her own room, they fed her, they clothed her. They pretty much took care of Kaylee as much as they could. So according to Casey, on June 15th, 2008, there was a heated argument happening within the family. The next morning, Casey left with Kaylee for a work trip to Tampa, Florida. She was angry and she did not want to come back home, so she packed like a bag as if she were going to stay for a while. The one thing we know for sure is on June 16th, 2008, that was the last day that Kaylee was seen alive. So Casey had told her family that she was going to be gone for a work-related trip to Tampa, right? Okay, so what really was going on was that Casey, she ended up leaving with Kaylee, right? She headed over to her boyfriend's apartment, but when she got there, Kaylee wasn't with her. When asked where Kaylee was, she always had an excuse. She was either with the nanny or she was just somewhere else. She was always somewhere else, Kaylee. So Casey would end up staying at her boyfriend's house for a month. And every time she spoke with her mom, because her mom would call her up, be like, hey, how's it going? How's Kaylee doing? Where's Kaylee? Can I talk to Kaylee? Every time her mom would ask, Casey would have a different excuse. Like, oh, Kaylee's with the nanny Zanny, or Kaylee's sleeping, she's taking a nap. And her grandparents, they were getting more and more concerned. Like, it's been a month. Where are you? And where's Kaylee? During this month vacation, I guess, Casey began partying more than ever. She participated in a sexy body contest at a local club, and she was out drinking with her friends, what seemed almost every night. Again, her boyfriend, the guy that she was seeing, he was a DJ, so wherever he was at, that's where she was going. So at this time, MySpace was very popular, so she would be posting pictures of her out partying, dancing on bar tops. She's just like, yeah. That's what she probably was doing. And then she also got a tattoo that said Bella Vita, which means beautiful life. She was doing what like most people do in their early 20s, but where was Kaylee? So Casey's parents, they gave her their car for her to use because she didn't have one. So she was driving this car around, using it for quote unquote work-related stuff and to make sure that Casey had like transportation, right? They're just trying to take care of their daughter. So they let her borrow the car. So one day Casey drives down to a check cashing place, and at this time, she literally made it there like on empty fumes. She was running on fumes, right? So she gets there and she runs out of gas, but she cashes her check. No, like this is all the money that she has, and she realizes like, oh my gosh, getting the car towed to a gas station is going to cost me my whole check. I can't do that. So instead, she decides to just abandon the car in the parking lot. She doesn't realize how much her parents are helping her, and then she's just like slapping them in the face. Like, anyways. So she decides that's her best option. I'm just going to leave the car here. So she does that. So some time passes, and people working in the check cashing place realizes like this car's been in the parking lot forever. We have to call the tow truck and get it removed. So they do that. They get the car towed out of there, right? And it goes to the pound, where they call up George, Casey's father, and they say, hey, we have your car, it's impounded. This is the vehicle and this is where it's at. George, for good reason, is like, what the heck? Why is Casey's car there? Okay. So George goes down to pick up the car and figure out what the heck is going on, right? He gets to the pound. He pays the money to get the car out. And then the guy who's working at the pound takes him out to the car. So the two of them are going out there together. He gives him the keys. George says that he opens up the car door, and he says that both of them got a whiff of a pungent smell just coming from the car. And the worker said that it smelled like a dead body. Now, I personally have never smelled a dead body before, which I think is probably, is a blessing. But based off of everything I've read and researched, it sounds like you can't mistake the smell of a dead body. It's a very distinct smell. Like you can't confuse it with something else. So George ends up taking the car home, pissed. Him and his wife, Cindy, are pissed because first of all, why is the car in the pound? They have to pay the fees to get the car out. Now George is like, dude, the car smells like a dead body. So he comes home. He tells Cindy, hey, come here, come smell the car. So Cindy comes out, she smells the car. She agrees. It's a pretty intense, foul odor. They pop open the trunk and they see a trash bag. So Cindy said that they didn't open the trash bag. They just threw it away. Then she said that she used an entire bottle of Febreze on the inside of the car. They left all of the car doors open to help air it out. This is according to Cindy.
Casey Anthony wasn't sick the way she said she was when her daughter was unalive. And for 31 days, Casey Anthony didn't tell anybody about her daughter's disappearance. So I'm going to start this series called Cold Casey, where for the next 31 days, we're going to make sure everybody remembers that Casey is no advocate at all for the voiceless. Now, I know that technically this isn't a cold case, but as far as as I'm concerned, as far as justice is concerned, it is absolutely a cold case. Kaylee hasn't gotten the closure she deserves, and the family and friends outside of Casey haven't gotten the closure they deserve. So in this series, I'm going to remind the public why she's unequivocally guilty. Starting with, like I said, she wasn't sick the way she said she was when Kaylee was unalived on June 16, 2008. How do I know this? Well, Casey claims that she was so sick that her father, while she was sleeping in a deep, deep sleep because she was so sick, her father came in there during the day and must have grabbed Kaylee and done something to her. Now, I'm sure you guys have had that sickness just like I have, where you're laying in bed during the daytime, so fatigued, so tired, so exhausted, and so sick that you can't help but to lay there and sleep and get some rest and drink some water. Tell me if what you're about to see are some things that you would do if you were that sick. Number one, here's a snapshot of all the outgoing and incoming calls to and from Casey's phone the day all this happened. A large majority of which was before anything was known to have happened to Kaylee. I don't know about y'all, but when I'm that sick, my phone's on Do Not Disturb. Don't bother me. I'm not making any outgoing calls. And here's Casey's actual activity on June 16th when she was feeling terrible. She got on MySpace to research girls' costumes for her boyfriend Tony Lazzaro's nightclub events. She got on her AIM account and chatted with some people. And all throughout the morning and afternoon, mind you, she was supposed to be in such a deep sleep that George came in there and took Kaylee from her. She had assorted normal searches, calls, texts, AIMs, all done throughout that time period. She even went on a 37-minute phone call with her friend Amy. How many times do you talk for 37 minutes when you were feeling that sick? A 37-minute phone call when you're that sick. Get out of here. Can y'all let me know below if that ever happened to... I don't want to talk to anybody when I'm that sick. I'm like, call me tomorrow. Then later on, after George, her dad, had left, she went ahead and made a Google search looking for foolproof, that word. 1 minute later, she was on her MySpace account. She denies that this was her on the computer, as if George got on her MySpace account. And then around that same time, she talked to an ex-boyfriend. Yeah, she had a boyfriend talking to her ex-boyfriend, Jesse Grunn. She had a conversation with him, which he describes as abnormal. And she said during that call that she got a call from George, which was supposedly him letting her know that he took care of it. That's not true, but we'll definitely get there in these 31 days. After that, which I presume is around the time where she had actually already gone through with all of this stuff, she made a call to her boyfriend, Tony Lazzaro, and she made a lot of calls to her mom, Cindy. A lot of them went unanswered. They were both to her work phone and to her cell phone. But this is the one I really want to show everybody. She and Anthony Lazzaro are seen entering and walking around casually at a Blockbuster video store at 7:54 p.m. Kaylee is not with them. And here is the surveillance footage of her and her boyfriend at that Blockbuster at that time. I'm just going to go ahead and put this out there. When I'm that sick that I have to lay down and I can't even feel somebody taking my daughter from me next to me while I'm laying down, supposedly, I don't normally go to Blockbuster that same night and just have the time of my life, and I definitely don't get... That's a little bit close. You're going to get him sick too. Unless, of course, you weren't actually sick like you said you were. She wasn't ill that day. Not even close. This is just one piece of the many that will be discussed in the next 31 days so that I can make sure that Casey Anthony is reminded that you're not advocating for nothing. Give me a follow. We'll see you during this series. Bow.
We're sweat to death. Okay. Today is Saturday, March 1st, 2025. This is my first of probably many recordings on a series that I'm starting. I am a legal advocate. I am a researcher. I've been in the legal field since 2011, and in this capacity, I feel that it's necessary, if I'm going to continue to operate appropriately as a legal advocate, that I start to advocate for myself and also advocate for my daughter. For those of you who don't know, my name is Casey Anthony. My daughter is Kaylee Anthony. My parents are George and Cindy Anthony. This is not about them. This is not in response to anything that they have said or done. That's not to say that I'm not going to respond at some point to some of the things that they have said and done. The whole point of this is for me to begin to reintroduce myself. I'm doing this both personally for me, but in a professional capacity. Moving forward, the majority of what you will see will be me speaking in a professional capacity. My goal is to continue to help give a voice to people, to give people tools and resources that they can utilize so they actually know where they can turn to. So with that, please join me on Substack. If you have questions, I will set up an email address where we can correspond directly. Up until this point, that has never happened, and it's only going to be on a limited basis regarding legal issues, legal matters. One of the main reasons that I'm doing this, there are people close to me who have been targeted and attacked recently. There are also people close to me who have had some recent things occur, and when necessary, people needed to step up, myself included. So as a proponent for the LGBTQ community, for our legal community, women's rights, I feel that it's important that I use this platform that was thrust upon me and now look at it as a blessing as opposed to the curse that it has been since 2008. With that, these aren't going to be perfect. They're not going to be edited. Most of the time, they're not going to be short. But I am proverbially standing in the light, embracing this piece, still going to keep my privacy intact. So you will get very comfortable with my car And I will explain in great detail why it's so important for people to protect their privacy. It's not just important to public figures, it's even more important to private individuals. And with the current climate in our country especially, it's that much more important, which is why I am utilizing the Substack platform. Yes, I am advertising this and publishing this on TikTok, possibly also through other meta platforms, but my intention is to separate from that and showcase even more why Substack is such an important resource for people to utilize moving forward. Anyway, I appreciate your time, and we'll see how this goes.
Middle finger to my haters, are you bitch jealous? Fuck yeah. Been knew I was that bitch, I didn't need a man to tell me. The fuck? Crop tops in the wintertime, showing off my flat ass belly.
Okay, I'm sorry for the jump scare, but this just happened to be the screenshot that I got. My apologies. But can I just say that I know we are very divided as a nation right now, but at least almost everybody on social media can agree that Casey Anthony should not be here. I mean, there are over 50,000 people following her, which is just ridiculous. Please, if you are following her, unfollow, block her, do not give her the attention. But the amount of videos that I have seen, I swear every other video is about her and how she should not be here, how what she is doing and saying is ridiculous. In her video that she posted on TikTok, she said she has been a legal advocate since 2011. Which, by the way, was when she went to trial for the murder of her daughter. Another thing I want to point out is that when she came on this app, the first thing she said was not, I want to find out who killed my daughter, I want to get justice for my daughter. If she is saying she did not kill her daughter, then why is she not looking for the killer or fighting to get the killer incarcerated? Because at the trial, her defense claimed that her parents were there when Caylee Anthony accidentally drowned and that they covered up her death. But if that was the case, why are you not fighting for them to go to prison? And why have you not been fighting for that since you were acquitted? She claims she wants to advocate for herself, and also for her daughter, but she is not trying to find her daughter's killer. She has not said a single thing about trying to get justice for her daughter. She's just saying she wants to advocate for her. So that's just very telling in my opinion. But again, if you are following Casey Anthony, please unfollow her. We don't want her to turn comments on so she doesn't get more engagement. Just stop paying attention to her account, and hopefully without getting attention, she will go away. Yes, I know that by making this video, I'm bringing more attention to her, but I'm trying to raise awareness for people to just leave her alone and stop following her. Just unfollow, block, leave her alone.
I just got booted off of live for talking about Casey Anthony. I was detailing the 31 days, every single thing that happened during those 31 days when Caylee was missing. And this is all in honor of Casey Anthony making her appearance on TikTok. And I am here to remind you of everything that actually happened, not hearsay, not story time. This is all fact-based, according to court records, cell phone documents, actual emails, messages, all of it. So I was on live, got booted off, but that's not going to stop me. I'm just going to go ahead and start making videos about this because I ain't got nothing but time. So stick around, follow me for more updates on Casey freaking Anthony.
Suspect was caught on camera at a Blockbuster at the same time she was supposed to be dropping off her daughter at her nanny's. They were having the time of their life, and their daughter wasn't with them. That doesn't sound good. Suspect went to her neighbor's house days after anyone had last seen Caylee and asked for, of all things, a shovel. That's pretty damning. 4 days after anyone had last seen Caylee, suspect was seen participating in a hot body contest, just living it up. That doesn't seem like grief. Suspect got a tattoo that said Bella Vita 2 weeks after anyone had last seen Caylee. It means the beautiful life. Sure wish Caylee would have got to live the beautiful life. Suspect's parents picked up Casey's abandoned vehicle 31 days after anyone had last seen Caylee and smelled what he described as human decomposition. That's pretty telling, isn't it? Suspect afterwards texted Tony and said, if they don't find her, they're going to blame me and I'll spend eternity in jail, while saying nothing about hoping that she finds her daughter, who she obviously knew she already lost. This is not good. Suspect, for what all she knew, could have been critical moments in trying to find her daughter, took the police on a wild goose chase to Universal Studios, where she worked at years prior, and she didn't work there anymore. Just wasting their time. It's not good if you're trying to find your daughter. Okay, last thing we need to do, guys, is edit. Oh, I have the camera. Hold on. You can tell I'm new to this. I had the camera facing the wrong way.
Caylee Anthony was missing for 31 days before her mom, Casey Anthony, told anyone that she was missing. So what exactly happened during those 31 days? I'm going to tell you. The last time George or Cindy saw or heard Caylee was when Casey left with Caylee, saying that she was heading to Tampa on a work trip. George says that Casey and Caylee left carrying backpacks at about 1 p.m. that day. Casey was even wearing a laminated ID around her neck for added effect because she loves props. She left with Kaylee and drove around until she knew that George was going to be gone for work, because his shift started at 3 p.m. that day, and he would usually leave for work around 2:30. But according to cell phone records, her phone pinged near her parents' home, indicating that she did not go very far. I think she was just driving around waiting for George to not be at home. Then at 1 p.m., she called Tony. At 1:44 p.m., she called her friend Amy. And at 2:52 p.m., she called her ex-fiance, Jesse Grund, the man who was like a father to Kaylee from day one, who would surely recognize Kaylee's voice, right? During that call at 2:52 p.m., Jesse said that he could hear little Kaylee in the background. During that conversation, Casey was telling Jesse that she needed to find a new place to live because her parents were getting a divorce and she wasn't able to live there anymore. When in reality, I think she was getting kicked out by her parents. But regardless, meanwhile, George is clocking into his shift at work, which started at 3 p.m. So while Jesse is on the phone with Casey and Kaylee is in the background, George is at work. And it's corroborated by his timesheet that he did not get off work until 11 p.m. that night. Between 3 and 4 p.m., there was no activity on Casey's phone, leaving me to assume that this could be when Kaylee died. Now at 4:11 p.m., Casey tries calling her mom, Cindy, 4 times in 2 minutes, but doesn't get a hold of her. And then at 4:19, she calls Tony. And at this point, her phone finally starts pinging away from her parents' home as she travels north towards Tony's apartment. She talks to Tony for 1 minute. Then a minute later at 4:21, she calls her ex, Jesse, again. They talked for 1 minute. Then she calls her mom again at 4:25, but she does not answer. Another call is not made or received to or from Casey's phone until 5:57 that evening, and it was made to Tony's apartment. That same evening, Tony and Casey go to Blockbuster together, and there are surveillance photos that show them casually strolling through the store with their arms around each other. Kaylee is not with them, and Kaylee is not with George or Cindy. They rented, get this, Untraceable, which is a psychological thriller about an FBI agent tracking down a serial killer who posts videos of his victims on the internet, and the movie Jumper, which is about a mother who abandons her 5-year-old child who can then teleport himself. But the most important action from that day that was never discovered or reported by the prosecution was the fact that on June 16th, the day Kaylee went missing, the computer in the home that Casey used so often to stay up to date on her social medias like MySpace and Facebook showed that Google searches were made for foolproof suffocation, which was misspelled, and then whoever was on the computer clicked on a link to an article about self-canceling that discussed taking poison and putting a bag over their... I can't say the words or this video will get taken down. Now then, on that same browser, there was activity on MySpace shortly after. How was this missed? Well, the forensics done on the computer only searched the Internet Explorer activity and not the application Firefox. These are 2 separate applications to search the internet. Casey often used Firefox when she got on the internet, not an Internet Explorer. So it was missed. And the only person who could have been home at the time that these searches were made was Casey Anthony, because both George and Cindy were already at work. And while we're talking about internet searches, there were also searches done on the home computer back in March of 2008 for how to make chloroform, shovel, making weapons out of household products, chloroform habit, and neck breaking. And these searches were done at a time when George and Cindy were both at work. So I believe it's safe to use your common sense here and assume that Casey is the one that made these searches. Now, in the next video, we're going to move on to June 17th, the day after Kaylee goes missing.
So I heard that Casey Anthony wants to come back on this app. And you know, I don't think you deserved what you got.
First of all, it is literally 7 in the morning right now, but this needed to be said. Why are y'all following Casey Anthony? She made that stupid ass video right there where she's like, oh, I'm professional now and I want people to be heard and give them a voice. And she said the word capacity like 96 times. My thing is, like, if you saw the video, you saw the video, but you want to follow a child? Yeah, that's weird. I would say Happy Tuesday, but it's not really starting off very happy.
If Casey really didn't unalive her daughter, if she was going to come on social media, why wouldn't the first thing that she say be help me find my daughter's killer? Because isn't Kaylee's case still unsolved? Casey was acquitted and they haven't brought no charges to the parents. So why wouldn't you come on social media to advocate for justice for your daughter, who was 2? Imagine having the audacity to come on this app and say that you've been a legal advocate since 2011. Mind you, wasn't you a defendant in 2011? Claiming to be an advocate for a child that you unalived that you're not even trying to find justice for. Nobody wants legal advice from someone that discarded her daughter literally like trash and then went on and partied for 30 days before somebody even said something. Mind you, I think the parents knew. My mom couldn't go a full 24 hours without having any type of update on her grandchild. Imagine going a whole 30 days and not asking not one question. But what I hate is that just because this girl made an account on this app doesn't mean I gotta follow her. She has tens of thousands of followers already. For what? What are you supporting? We as a people have to hold ourselves accountable too. We're the same people that have allowed Ash Trevino to get as far as she has. So it doesn't shock me that people are following Casey Anthony. They like to follow train wrecks. So is it disgusting that Casey Anthony came on this platform to even begin with? Because she shouldn't be on any type of social media. She should be an inmate, first of all. Kaylee Anthony would have turned 20 this year. She's not gonna be able to enjoy TikTok, so why should the person that unalived her? But just like how Casey's wrong for being on this app, y'all are wrong for giving her the time of day, period.
My name is Casey Anthony.
Not a single one of us want to hear from you. I don't know how you got here, but you need to be up out of here by 5 o'clock.
This beautiful little girl is Kaylee Anthony. She was 2 years old when her life was taken from her.
According to the prosecutor, according to the evidence, they believed that Casey had used chloroform to knock her baby out and then duct taped her nose and her mouth.
Casey has now joined TikTok to try to reinvent her image.
Yes, our justice system did fail this sweet little girl because Casey Anthony should be behind bars.
While her body was sitting there in the woods by herself in a bag, this was her mother. You were out getting tattoos while she was missing. You were out partying while she was missing. You're out partying now.
30 days, her daughter was missing and not a sign of remorse on her face while she was out partying with different men.
Jury still found her not guilty. Not only did she walk, not only did she get her freedom when she should have got the needle, now y'all want to make her famous?
It's bad enough that she's able to walk around free as if she didn't do shit. Do not give her a platform to monetize off of that child.
The whole point of this is for me to begin to reintroduce myself. I'm doing this both personally for me, but in a professional capacity.
Casey has kept her comments off on her account.
Go back to wherever you were hiding in Florida.
You know, as I sit here, it occurs to me that Casey Anthony's plan all along was to rage bait us into jump-starting her TikTok career. And for all intents and purposes, it worked. It's all anyone is talking about right now, even myself. I include myself there. And just go look at who's trending. Just go look. It's her. And the way you know that she's really trying to rage bait us is because she introduced herself as an advocate. An advocate for what, Casey? Where was her advocate, Casey? The fact that she thinks that she can just get on here and talk to us about any advocacy of any kind just shows you that she has no remorse at all. Zero. With that being said, and I know that I might be in the minority here, I actually don't want TikTok to deplatform her. Because something else that occurs to me is that there's an entire generation of kids that are on this app that probably weren't even alive when these events unfolded. I want them to know what the face of one of the most vile human beings to ever exist actually looks like. And I also want Casey to know that this isn't something that we're just willing to let go because some time has passed. And just because a jury acquitted you, which will forever be one of the biggest mysteries in my head. And also, I'm banking on the fact that she's going to let something slip. Something that she didn't let slip 15 years ago. If you follow her, though, you're a weirdo. That's all I have to say about that.
I just saw your comment. I went to her page. She has 28K followers. What could you possibly relate to her about? What? 28.5K followers. What could you possibly relate to her about? Are we okay? Are we genuinely okay? Do y'all not? Are we? If you're an advocate and a follower of Casey Anthony, you might as well go on and get rid of my account right now, because there's no way I am going to follow anybody who thinks what she did to her child was the right thing. What is happening?
Yeah, fuck that. No hate to this commenter because she's just pointing out what we're all thinking. I don't care if the 28 fucking thousand followers right now. I don't care if any of them are messy and just want to see how the story plays out. All of them are fucking ignorant because you are allowing this murderer to monetize off the back of her daughter. So no, I will blame every single one of the followers who are allowing her to do that. Because each one of you, and if you are watching this video and you are one of those people who follow Kaylee or Casey Anthony and you are allowing her to monetize, I need you to do me a favor, fucking unfollow me, and I need you to block me because you're ignorant, and I'm not changing my words for that. You're stupid. You're a dumb individual, and you don't deserve any second of my attention. So make sure you block me from this platform because we are not cool. We're not friends. We're not ever going to be, because when you murder a child, you deserve to be in prison or under it. There is no in between on this one. And if you disagree with me, if you think there is any way that this woman is innocent, go to jail with her. Fucking, I can't.
Well, Casey Anthony won't turn her comments on, but she's in my comments running her mouth with grammar that proves she didn't graduate high school. So if you have anything to say to Casey Anthony, why don't you just click on this here little comment. Let her know how you feel about her. Let her know how you feel about her being on the internet.
Love you, Casey.
Buy any duct tape lately?
Casey, what you do to that baby? Cause your ass just hopped on TikTok as if we forgot about your ass, like we don't know who you is. Just because it's been a while don't mean we forgot.
You mean like your daughter after you chloroformed her and then... Bitch, shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear shit. You a motherfucking lie and you killed your fucking kids. Casey, we are not about to sit up here and act like you didn't kill your daughter. We're not about to sit up here and act like you over here for anything else but attention. You are going to hell. You do deserve every bad thing that's ever happened to you and will happen to you. And I genuinely hope for the worst for your life. The quickness with which I just blocked you should be studied. Outside of that, I don't even really have too much to really add to the situation. Casey Anthony is a murderer. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. If you got something else to say, like, if Casey Anthony has no haters, then planet Earth is dead. And for those of y'all who really are about to start caping for this girl, I hope the same stuff for y'all, bro. I don't care. You're weird. I'm not weird. You're weird.
Welcome to my closet. My steak's on fire. Shout out to the woman that threads my upper lip. We've been through a lot together. But I'm going to forego our future appointments. Embrace my inner catfish. I'm going to wake up with a face full of whiskers. Give these damn men something to aspire to. Number 1. Brian Glenn, aka Beavis. You waterhead bastard. You ask President Zelensky if he owns a fucking suit. Trash. That man wears that attire in solidarity with his soldiers that are fighting on the fucking front lines. You should aim for that kind of honor. Now I understand that your idea of masculinity and professionalism is fucking skewed. After all, you enjoy bumping fucking uglies with that incompetent, manly Maytag refrigerator, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Truly are a match made in hell. Number 2, Casey Anthony. We are going through damn enough. You know, we have officially reached shitstorm when a baby killer feels safe enough to climb out from under her fucking rock. I'd rather get a pap smear in a dirty fucking truck stop than to hear anything that raggedy ass heifer has to say. Casey Anthony, fuck no. Catastrophic coochie infection. Yeah. Number 3. Why the fuck is aluminum-free deodorant $15? The hygiene is starting to smell very low. And I've tried natural deodorant, so don't you go tagging me in that loomy. The only product that I'm putting on my feet, pits, and is soap. Y'all are fucking tripping. And number 4. To the congressmen that are closeted bottoms that keep introducing bills to put that scrotum neck fucker on money and give him his own day and his face on Mount Rushmore. Are y'all tonsil deep in his crotch? Do you come up for air? Do you enjoy the taste of power and destruction, or taint more? And for the party that hates LGBTQ, y'all got a lot of male throat goats on your team. No judgment, just observation. I could do this all night, but I've got laundry to do. Gotta check the little man's pockets for rocks. All right, sailors. Booze and bingo, 8:30. I'll see you on Friday night.